Aloha from Oceanit. The Alawai Watershed encompasses 19 square miles from the Makiki, Mānoa, and Pololo valleys down to the Wai Canal and Waikiki. It is the most densely populated watershed in Hawaii, with high densities of homes, condominiums, businesses, and schools, including the University of Hawai'i at Mānoa. With increased urbanization and an evolving climate, storm events are becoming more frequent, and new action is needed to modernize safety and reduce flooding risks from these potentially devastating storms. But how do we take responsible action without majorly impacting the natural environment and private landowners with large-scale construction? The Alawai Watershed Flood Mitigation Project represents the biggest climate project in Hawaii's modern history. The goal? To reduce flood risks from a 100-year storm to prevent the Wai Canal from overtopping by reducing flooding in our valleys and protecting the entire watershed. The Mānoa flood in October 2004 reminded us of how vulnerable we all are to sudden and severe flood events. Over $100 million in damage was done by a flood only classed as a 20-year storm event. The 2004 rainwater flow rate in the Mānoa-Pololo Drainage Canal was 9,500 cubic feet per second. In a 100-year storm, we would see flow rates up to 20,000 cubic feet per second, resulting in significantly worse damage than the 2004 Mānoa storm. Damage from a 100-year storm event today would affect over 3,000 properties and cause an estimated $1.14 billion in structural damages alone. Oceanit has been working with the community to help better understand the issues so that the best possible flood mitigation solution can be attained. To accomplish this, Oceanit spent time collecting and listening to community concerns, hosting 13 stakeholder meetings with over 300 stakeholders from all levels of the watershed and from Native Hawaiian communities. A solution must take into account the protection of the Waikiki economic engine, flood reduction upstream of the Alawai, protection of private lands, and minimal ecosystem impacts. All stakeholders agree that flood mitigation is needed to protect Waikiki, but not at the expense of the upper and lower watershed communities. Communities were against construction of large-scale detention basins in the upper watershed, high concrete flood walls, and the loss of private property. But as a community, we remain convinced that there is a responsible engineering solution out there that respects the natural environment as well as the many stakeholders in the watershed. Community-driven input and interests led us to a design concept we call SWIFT, Subsurface Watershed Inundation Flow Technology. With SWIFT, subterranean tunnels are designed to divert approximately 5,500 cubic feet of water per second from the Makiki, Mānoa, and Pololo valleys. These microtunnels, from each of the three main upper watershed areas, will divert water from surface flow directly out to sea, significantly reducing volumes flowing down into the Wai Canal. SWIFT removes enough flow from the upper watershed to reduce the impact of a 100-year storm flood event to that of a 20-year storm event. And in doing so, SWIFT can address and balance the multitude of community, economic, and safety concerns involved. Over just 1 hour, SWIFT microtunnels will remove 19,800,000 cubic feet of rainwater, enough to fill almost 225 Olympic-sized swimming pools. By addressing flow in the upper watershed, SWIFT will protect the neighborhoods and entire downstream watershed, including at-risk areas around Mānoa, the Wai Canal, and Waikiki. This subterranean approach reduces the need for surface construction greatly. SWIFT prioritizes community safety while reducing the impact on the environment and preserving private lands.